Good morning to you, Michelle, and viewers. Certainly, as you know, that 2020 was a devastating year, and it was a long year in the context of us as public servants, particularly healthcare workers, because we have been dealing with an animal that we didn't know. And as a result, we have been generally strained and also characterized by anxiety. So it has been a long year, yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
It's so ironic because, last year during the State of the Nation address, one of the key takeaways from President Cyril Ramaphosa was the fact that he said the coming year would be a year of inclusive growth. That was the State of the Nation address 2020. How, looking back, how much of that has achieved, if anything? In fact, we've been taken further backward.
Certainly, and we know that people are going to be blaming COVID-19 because of the devastation that he has made. But the truth of the matter, really, our economy, in fact, is worse than what President was before the President Cyril Ramaphosa being in the office of the president. And as we know, that we have lost more than 2 million jobs, and people are by poverty, and the livelihood has been compromised. But we expect them to be accusing COVID. Yet there has never been a clear economic growth path that is driven by opportunities to create jobs and also ensure that it also deal with the issue of poverty alleviation.
Yeah. So the big issue for NEHAWU certainly is economic recovery this year, but it can't surely be the same things we've heard year after year at SONA. Something needs to drastically change this year. But the question is, what will the president say that will make a union like NEHAWU feel like, the year of 2021 will be the year that we see the drastic change that we need?
I must say that we don't have high hopes on the SONA. Firstly, because there's no coherence in terms of what would have been said in the past and what is going to be said today. As a result, we can't even follow up logically the impact that government has made in terms of the commitments that normally made by the president. But secondly, we don't have a high expectation really under the neoliberal policy, the policy of austerity measures. And unfortunately, this policy has been proven as a policy that is not working in the context of South Africa, because really is not putting more focus on the social development and improve the living conditions. So we don't really expect much. But of course, if the president is talking, firstly, we expect that the president will instruct the Minister of Finance to pay public servants what is due to them. And secondly, given the role and the sacrifice that has been demonstrated by healthcare workers, we expect President to confirm the kind of incentive concretely that these frontline workers, for the sacrifice that they've demonstrated, will be getting. As you know, that we have been making that call. We expect President to really deal with that. But more importantly, also we expect out of the SONA explanation and announcement on the concrete plans to secure vaccine responding to 501Y V2 variant, because that's a serious issue now that will be. And then that the SONA ought to clarify the extent to which we are interacting with manufacturers who are producing vaccines that really are relevant in South Africa. But also we expect President also to act decisively to the Minister of Finance, who has been unable to account for the departmental resources. A minister who's expected to really look after the affairs of government.
Yeah. You're talking about the management of public finances, Zola. In fact, the president also last year in the State of the Nation address, talking about reducing his bloated cabinet, trying to bring the amount of money spent on his cabinet down. He talked about having performance appraisals for cabinet ministers. We've not seen any movement on those scores. on the issue of public finances, we need a plan, don't we, on how we're going to manage our money, especially now given the money we need in our fight against the pandemic?
Firstly, we expect him to act on Titombo, who, as I was saying, that could not account for the percents that they've been in his department. As you will know, that the Auditor General had revealed that there are irregularities and the fruitful expenditure in that office. And remember, that office should be exemplary and should inspire confidence to others. So as part of performance management that the president had promised, we are yet to see him. What is going to be his response to the person whom he trusts and responsible with the past? And that's what performance management ought to start. So we are looking really forward to that. And we want to check whether President, he means his word or he just bluffing or just saying things because he needs to say them. And we're going to use the Titombo as a yardstick to measure that.
Zola, before we let you go, you mentioned just earlier in one of your responses the issues around the public sector wage bill, and NEHAWU itself has met with the president to deal with the issue of the public sector wage bill, which to date we still don't have clarity on. I mean, is it realistic to expect that he's going to announce something like that at SONA when he hasn't announced it to the unions himself?
Remember, in our discussion, President, they have never disputed, neither telling us what the government is not going to pay. Rather, President had said that given the situation of economy, we need a high leadership level engagement, which will find solution. And also, not only us as NEHAWU, there was a delegation of COSATU CEC, which he repeated that, and unfortunately, that has never been taken place. Maybe he will realize that if in a year of the local government election, if he's not going to be really considering public servants, that would have a really negative impact of workers in the particularly of NEHAWU in the forthcoming local government. So it's up to him, but our expectation as a president, he ought to own up on the commitment made by government to
All right, apologies for that. We seem to have lost our connection there to Zola Saphetha. Zola, we lost you for just a moment. Your frame was frozen on screen, but you were talking about the fact that NEHAWU is still hopeful. You've said realistically you're perhaps not expecting much from the State of the Nation address when it comes to public sector workers, but you are still hopeful?
Because he's a human being, he has a conscience, we are relying on his conscience because government has made an undertaking, hopefully, that the president, as a leader of government, will come to his senses and say, this money is due to you and you deserve to have it. And then Tito must see to it how public servants are to be given their money before the lapse of that agreement.
Zola Saphetha, thanks very much for your time this morning on the AM Report as we build up to the State of the Nation address, getting the perspective there of one union and what it hopes will come out of the President's address.